my pleasure to welcome all of you to the city on her hill. And this next session will have one of the most complicated technical discussions that I've been privy to. We are going to have our own mayor, Providence Mayor Taveras, who will make some introductory remarks and introduce Mayor Ravenstahl, who is currently in Pittsburgh. Many of you have heard that there was a terrible tragedy in the city yesterday. There was a shooting incident, a mass shooting incident in one of the hospitals, and several people were killed. So we're, hope our prayers and our best wishes are with the families of the victims, and our sympathies go out to all of the citizens of Pittsburgh, really, who have been trying to deal with this terrible shock. And we are very grateful to Mayor Ravenstahl for agreeing to continue his commitment, to live up to his commitment. It's really above and beyond, and we really are grateful to him and for his time, so we want to stay on schedule. So it's it's a great pleasure of mine to introduce our own mayor, who, as you know, went from, we love to say, Head Start to Harvard, and has been doing really an amazing job in working on getting the city's fiscal condition in shape. And everyone in the city knows how tirelessly he has been working to really establish that spirit of partnership that this conference is dedicated to. And the fact that he's here today shows yet again how committed he is to making our city better and reaching out to all the partners here. I want to, yes, why don't you just join me in welcoming him.
Thank you, Dr. Silver. It's great to be with you today, and to Mayor Ravenstahl. I'm sorry that he could not join us in person, but I want to extend our condolences as a city to people of Pittsburgh and what they're going through right now. I know it's not, cannot be an easy time at all, but we do appreciate the mayor's willingness to follow through with this and speak today. Mayor Ravenstahl is a pretty extraordinary mayor. If you think I'm young, he's about 10 years younger. So that's really something. And he was a very young city council person, became city council president, I think after 2 years on the job as a councilman, became mayor in 2007, the youngest man in the country, 26 years old in 2007. And he really encountered tremendous challenges in terms of the city. The city, as I read, was on the verge of bankruptcy, very low bond rating, and he really was able to lead an effort of turning the city around, which is something that gives me a lot of hope, because I can understand some of the things that he's facing. Pittsburgh is a wonderful city. I don't know that it's the most livable city, but and I hope you heard that, Mayor. But perhaps that side of the Allegheny. I spent a summer in Pittsburgh. I worked at Kirkpatrick and Lockhart and lived over on Dawson Street near the I think it's Tenley Park, Mayor. And that was back in 1994. I recently got a chance to go back with the governor and with other officials from nonprofits to take a look at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center that has really transformed the city. We went to the U.S. Steel Tower that is now mostly occupied by UPMC and other companies as well. And this mayor has worked very, very closely with the University of Pittsburgh and other tax-exempt institutions to really partner and find ways to strengthen Pittsburgh. And I know one of his biggest, something he's very proud of is the Pittsburgh Promise, which is something that provides scholarships, $40,000 scholarships for kids in Pittsburgh public schools to go on and get higher education. And he's very focused on improving the education of all the kids in Pittsburgh, and has partnered with so many of the universities and colleges and hospitals to get that done. So it's exciting for me to be here. I'm going to try to stay as long as I can to hear the mayor, because I'm very interested to hear what he has to say and how he's been able to turn around the city of Pittsburgh and to garner so much praise. So Mayor Ravenstahl, I was hoping to welcome you in person to Providence. I look forward to having that opportunity in the future, but I want to welcome you in cyberspace to Providence, and look forward to hearing from you. So without further ado, Mayor Luke Ravenstahl.
So now that my allotted time is up, but I do appreciate, Mayor, your kind words, and appreciate all you had to say about Pittsburgh. I want to thank everybody at Brown for all that you've done to enable this to continue to happen here today. I apologize for not being able to be there in person. Obviously, we had a very tragic day yesterday in the city of Pittsburgh, and my responsibilities required me to stay home, and I wish I would have had a chance to be in Providence and see Brown, but I do appreciate the hospitality that everybody has lent me, and I look forward to being there someday, and I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm going to talk today about bringing back Pittsburgh's Promise. A little bit about myself, as the mayor mentioned. I'm the youngest big city mayor of any city in the country. When I got elected to city council, I was 23. I became the mayor at the age of 26. And some wonderful things are happening in our town right now. We are named one of 20 of the best of the world to travel to in 2012 by National Geographic. One of the top 10 American comeback cities by Forbes. And Mayor, I do disagree with Pittsburgh is America's most livable city. In fact, Forbes and The Economist both said so. And we're very proud of that. And I know you have some wonderful things happening in Providence as well that you should be very proud of. And we both have very, very livable cities. So photos now on the screen that will kind of illustrate Pittsburgh's economic and environmental transformation. The pictures at the top, of course, were from decades ago. An older steel town, a town that was decaying. People are surprised to know that Pittsburgh used to be the nation's second largest economy next to New York City. We made the steel that built many skyscrapers and infrastructure throughout the country. But during this crash of the steel industry in the 80s, we lost half of our population. And needless to say, our economy suffered greatly because of that. Many of the friends of mine and friends of my family were forced to move from Pittsburgh because of this decline of the steel industry. But over the past 20, 25 years, we've rebuilt ourselves. We've reinvented ourselves. We now are a place that people want to flock to instead of flock from, and that's something we're all very proud of. And I'll talk with you more about that. This slide shows our population. You can see there from 95 through 2007. We had a consistent decline in population. We're very proud of the fact that over the last couple of years, we started to see that change. We used to have about 750,000 people that lived in the city of Pittsburgh proper. Today we have a little bit north of 300,000 people, and that's starting to change. That's important to us. The mayor mentioned the Pittsburgh Promise, which is a scholarship program that we implemented that's designed to keep people in our city and keep young families here. And we're excited about that, the success that it's already had. So today's presentation, I'll talk about the Pittsburgh being a national leader in job growth and creation, from a diversified economy to brownfield reclamation projects, just two of the ways that we were able to be successful in doing that. And then I'll spend some time talking about Pittsburgh as a national leader in sustainability, from green buildings to green initiatives to sustainable transportation programs that we're putting in place here at Pittsburgh. This chart shows you the unemployment numbers in Pittsburgh more jobs available than we had at the height of the steel industry in Pittsburgh. You can see on this slide this significant decline there in the early 80s. The red line depicts the number of people employed in Pittsburgh, and we kind of plummeted there in 1984, 1985. And so over the course of that, the past couple of decades, that's when we've been able to diversify, to add jobs. In fact, we're one of only 5 United States metro areas that added jobs from 2001 to 2011, and we're the only metro area outside of Texas that can claim that, something that we're very proud of. We have a thriving real estate market here in Pittsburgh. Another accolade listed there on the screen, one of the most affordable places to buy a home. So you can build a beautiful house or buy a beautiful house in a nice neighborhood. You can live there and have a good quality of life for a relatively low cost. It's something that we want to continue to offer to our residents, and why we think we in Pittsburgh are at a competitive advantage versus other cities. In addition, we're a city of service. We give back and get involved. We launched the Serve Pittsburgh initiative to get people mentoring in schools, to get people involved in their communities through Adopt a Block and Rent Up programs, and to continue to find ways where they can give back and invest in the neighborhoods that they live in. Pittsburgh's location is also, we're centrally located, and we think it's an advantage for us. I had the opportunity last year to be overseas in China, recruiting some companies that are looking for a North American destination. And when you look at the map, it shows that Pittsburgh is located within half of the entire United States population. Now, we might not be as close to the beach as you all are in Providence, but from a competitive standpoint, from a business standpoint, our location, we think, is a great asset for us as we look to expand companies and growth here in southwestern Pennsylvania and in the Pittsburgh area. We're also home to 35 colleges and universities, which makes us really a college town in many ways as well. I don't know that many people outside of Pittsburgh know that. We have about 60,000 college students in our town, which makes it a fun town, a diverse town, and something we're proud of. 2 Tier 1 research institutions, Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh, call Pittsburgh home, and we're really proud of the work that they do, and also, just like Brown does in Providence, gives us a tremendous amount of intellectual capital to continue to grow our city and create good, solid job opportunities. Pittsburgh is an ed economy, but we're also much more. So we diversify our economy. People say, well, how did you grow jobs? How did you come back? We did so because we weren't just steel anymore. We're still proud of the fact that we are a steel town, that we make things here in Pittsburgh, but we're also so much more than that now. We have finance sectors, strong business sectors, strong energy sector, and then, of course, the eds and the meds, which is something that we focused on here and allowed us to do better than most regions when you look at our national average, in terms of, when you look at our unemployment rate, which is far below both the state average and the national average. That diversification has allowed Pittsburgh to grow. Numerous global institutions choose Pittsburgh to locate their headquarters or their major business units. Today we have more than 100 companies with annual revenues of at least $1 billion that call Pittsburgh home. In addition to that, we have more than 300 foreign-owned companies that have operations in the city of Pittsburgh or in our region. And these foreign-owned companies employ over 50,000 people in our region. So Pittsburgh, while often cases might not be viewed as a global city, clearly that's not the case, and that diversification has helped us grow. That diversification has included a strong information and communication technology sector. We have nearly 1,600 technology firms that employ 32,000 people. These employers include Apple, Blackbox, Comcast, Google, which we're very proud of. Google's really an amazing Pittsburgh story. They moved into Pittsburgh. We're in a site downtown, had 2 employees. They wanted to grow here because they thought the Pittsburgh region created a great opportunity for them to do that. They now have 150 employees, and they're looking to grow and expand more, and I'll show you later on in the presentation where they're located now, how we kind of built a neighborhood, if you will, around Google's relocation. So how do we do it? We've reclaimed our brownfields. The pictures on this slide show obviously old steel mill sites on the left, and on the right, the newly developed Pittsburgh Technology Center. The Pittsburgh Technology Technology Center is, as shown in the pictures, a former steel mill site that is now transformed into high-tech workspace. It's located strategically near our universities and also very close to downtown and also right along the riverfront. So it's a really cool place to work and it's a really great place that houses now hundreds of researchers that are doing much of that work in the information and communication technology sector. This next picture, this next slide is the brownfield reclamation project actually across the river from the Pittsburgh Technology Center. It's called Southside Works. It's the former J&L Steel site. This now is home to American Eagle Outfitters corporate headquarters, and it also employs thousands of people. The Pittsburgh Steelers practice and training facility is also located on this site. And once again, at the height of employment at J&L Steel, we today have more employees that are working there than they did at the height of J&L Steel when they were located on that site. So once again, the Pittsburgh of the past, the Pittsburgh of the present, and of course the Pittsburgh of the future. Sustainability. We wanted to be a city that was green and clean, and in many ways we are that, but the rest of the world really wasn't familiar with Pittsburgh's story. So we did a lot of things internally to try to change that, because I believe firmly that if you're going to ask other people to be sustainable and be green, you have to be willing to do so yourself. So in city government, we created the Green Government Task Force. It was a public-private partnership. It wasn't just city government alone, but we reached out to the nonprofits, the university community, the corporate community, to create this task force to put together a plan for us to seek ways to reduce our utility costs in our government buildings and buildings throughout town. We did this a variety of different ways, mainly purchasing more green energy from sources like wind, solar, natural gas, and also by weatherizing our buildings. And any of the money that we save by those reduced energy costs, we now put back into a green trust fund. That green trust fund will help us fund future energy-saving building improvements. And so we're committed to it, we're invested in it, and the savings that we realize aren't just being poured back into the city of Pittsburgh's operating budget, which is easy to do. It's a tough time economically, and we can certainly use those dollars elsewhere, but we haven't done that. We committed to green, we committed to the sustainability of our operations, and the Green Trust Fund commits us to that endeavor. One of the things that we've done and are in the process of doing is retrofitting our city-county building. I'm pictured there on the screen with the Secretary of Energy, Stephen Chu, and on the left-hand side is our city-county building. We're in the process now. We got a stimulus grant from President Obama, $3.4 million, to help us make this building a green building. This will include greener lighting, improved efficiency in HVAC, steam heating. This will save taxpayers, when it's all said and done and completed, roughly about $500,000 per year on our utility bills. In addition, in the city-county building, we're going to create what we're going to call Green Central, which is going to be located right here in the city-county building, which is in downtown Pittsburgh. It'll essentially be a one-stop shop for residents where they can come and receive information about how-tos, how to recycle hard materials, how to weatherize their home, and also get them involved in many of the green projects we have, from rain gardens and urban farming that we offer throughout the city of Pittsburgh. So it will really be not only a retrofitted building when it's all said and done, but kind of a hub and a center where people can come to and learn how to be green in their everyday lifestyles. Green building. Pictured here is our Consol Energy Center and some of the newer developments that have happened in town. The David L. Lawrence Convention Center, which is not pictured, is the largest LEED certified building anywhere in the world. The Phipps Conservatory Center for Sustainable Landscapes, which is the picture on the right-hand side, is the largest operational building pursuing living building status in the United States, which we're very, very proud of, and obviously that is something that Phipps is to be commended for, and it gives you some insight on how committed this region is to being green, to being clean, and really changing that perception about Pittsburgh. In addition, the Consol Energy Center picture is the greenest arena anywhere in the nation. It's home to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then finally, very proud of, and PNC is to be applauded for as well. Market Square, this picture is of Market Square, which is kind of the hub of downtown Pittsburgh. We recently redeveloped it, and you're looking at the newest picture of it. It was a $5 million project, which in the grand scheme of things is relatively cheap, to transform this historic gathering space in downtown Pittsburgh. That $5 million public investment has spurred millions of dollars in private investment. And just to give you an example of how successful it's been, in the last 2 years alone, we've opened 27 new restaurants in and around that square, and it's really becoming now the place to be. One of the things that we faced in Pittsburgh in terms of a challenge was having a downtown that was kind of vacant after 5 o'clock. So we had an active 9 to 5 workforce, but after work ended, people went home and they didn't have a place to gather or even a place to live. And Market Square started to change that, as is a lot of residential housing that we're adding in downtown Pittsburgh as well. I mentioned Google before. This is exactly where they're housed. It's Bakery Square. This is the site, the old Nabisco Bakery site that was abandoned, completely abandoned. We converted it into about a $130 million project. This is a LEED certified development. I mentioned that Google is there with their 150 employees and hopefully counting. This site also contains a hotel, residential living area, and many retail establishments like Urban Outfitters and more. This is in the East Liberty section of the city of Pittsburgh, and it's really, really catapulted a lot of other investment in and around the Bakery Square area, and it's a place where Google has now anchored and says we want to grow, which I think speaks volumes to the success of that project. The funny-looking guy in the hat on the left is me. I was installing recently LED lights. We've finished the first phase of our LED conversion project. This project will improve the environment and reduce our electricity expenses as it pertains to streetlights by about 50 or 60% once we have them completely implemented. To date, we've installed over 4,000 citywide in an effort to be more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. Our Green Up program is a program where we partner with neighborhood groups to transform abandoned lots and overgrown and dilapidated areas in the city of Pittsburgh. One of the things I mentioned, of course, is the declining population that we've experienced in Pittsburgh. That leads to a lot of vacant buildings, that leads to a lot of vacant lots, and that requires us, in many cases in city government, to step up and clean them up. So since I became the mayor in 2006, we've demolished almost 4,000 homes, which is important, but what's equally important is to do something positive with that land once it's all said and done. So we partner with neighborhood organizations, 2 of which are pictured here, to adopt those lots. We provide them with the resources, we provide them with the soil, the plants, and in turn the community then takes ownership and cuts the grass and takes care of it for us. And to date we've done about 150 of those across the city, urban farms and gardens, community gardens, places that give that neighborhood or community a sense of being and a sense of pride. This is just another picture of our Green Up program. This was an old baseball field, an old athletic field that was no longer being used, and you can see it was transformed into an urban garden. That neighborhood organization took ownership. They're responsible for it. We, of course, help them with supplies, but it's one of our great stories that we're very proud of. An urban forest. You can see from the picture here that Pittsburgh is a city of hills. It's also a very green city. We want to continue to invest in that. A healthy tree population greatly improves the residents' quality of life. We know that. We realize that. We recognize that. And we're committed to investing in that. We created a program called Tree Vitalize. And since 2007, we've added over 13,000 trees to our city. Hundreds of those trees in our business districts. And on Earth Day every year, right here at the City County Building, we give away thousands of free tree seedlings to residents, and that's important. In addition, I mentioned our service initiatives. We have over 1,000 residents who work with us. It's called Tree Pittsburgh to help take care of these trees. It's one thing to plant 13,000 trees. It's another thing to prune them, water them, and maintain them for years to come. And so once again, there's that ownership, there's that service component, while also greening our city. The Tree Vitalize program has been widely successful, and in the years to come, we're going to continue to invest in it. Sustainable transportation. This is clearly a challenge for many urban areas. Pittsburgh is no different. If we want to continue to be America's most livable city, we have to invest in sustainable transportation. In many ways, we're starting to do that. You all know that transportation is one of the largest contributors to global warming. It causes numerous problems like greenhouse gas emissions that are increasing respiratory illness, traffic congestion, parking issues, health effects of all those emissions. And we want to continue in Pittsburgh to try to do things differently. So we're offering cleaner sources of fuel for our existing modes of transportation. We're also shifting to less environmentally harmful types of transportation in Pittsburgh in an effort to lead by example and do those things. Two other things that are mentioned and shown on the slide. Proud of the fact that we hired in my administration the city's first ever bicycle pedestrian coordinator. Bicycle pedestrian coordinator has now been on board for a couple of years and is helping launch our first city's comprehensive transportation plan, which I'm going to talk more about here on the next slide. It's called Move PGH, or Move Pittsburgh. PGH is the acronym for Pittsburgh. A 25-year comprehensive transportation plan. When people in this region anyway think of transportation, oftentimes they think of two things, either a car or a bus or some sort of mass transportation system, which is clearly important. But we also have to think of transportation in a comprehensive way. That's what Move PGH is designed to do. We, in fact, had our first public meeting this week to develop the plan. It'll probably take us 8 months to the next year to develop this comprehensively, to find out what we're going to do and how we're going to look at transportation in our region. There are 6 different agencies that are involved in transportation, part of the fragmentation of government that I know exists everywhere. But the good news is that we have everybody around the table. We're going to focus on increasing our bicycle and pedestrian environment. We're going to create a street design manual to guide urban planners and also to guide future development. This will be a multimodal plan that will ultimately strengthen our economic and environmental transportation. So we're not looking at just cars, we're not looking at just buses, we're looking at transportation holistically. How do we create more walkable communities? How do we create more bike lanes? How do we create opportunities for people to get to point A and point B? How do we use our waterways, which I know is on one of the slides in the future that's coming up here as well. Our waterways, here we are. 22 miles of Riverfront Trail in Pittsburgh. We are using our rivers today in a much different way than we, of course, did at the height of the steel industry. We use them today for recreation. We use them today for, looks like I lost you again. I'm back. We use them today for recreation. Our riverfronts are now the home to our Major League Baseball team, Pittsburgh Pirates home park, as well as Heinz Field, the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. These rivers are frequently used by people all 12 months out of the year, really, and that's really exciting for us. In addition, if there are any bikers out there in Providence, we're also proud of the fact that we have the Great Allegheny Passage Trail. What's the Great Allegheny Passage Trail? It's a 250-mile long trail that connects the city of Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. So you can literally ride a bike from downtown Pittsburgh and ride all the way to Washington, D.C. We just committed that, or we just concluded that last year, and it's something that I think speaks volumes to our commitment to being a bicycle-friendly city. I mentioned earlier bike lanes and shared lanes on street. By the end of 2013, we'll have about 40 miles of bike lanes in the city. Before I became the mayor, we had 0. There wasn't a bike lane on any city street anywhere in Pittsburgh. By the end of next year, we're going to have about 40 miles of bike lanes. So that speaks volumes, once again, to our commitment to using alternative forms of transportation and being a cool urban area where people can get around. And so we're proud of those accomplishments, but of course recognize that we have much more work to do. 2 more pictures of our riverfront, as you can see there, the activity that takes place. While we've done some great things, and our football stadium is pictured there, the picture on the left-hand side, there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity along our riverfronts. Pittsburgh has 3 rivers. Our focus now is on our Allegheny River. There's about 17 miles of riverfront property that is now either vacant or not being used at its highest and best use. So we launched a master planning process last spring. Our goal is to maximize the land that exists there along the riverfront of what we've been able to do. You see National Geographic's cover there. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Pittsburgh is named as one of only 20 destination cities all over the world to visit in 2012. So if any of you students are interested in coming to Pittsburgh to get an internship at one of our fine corporations or to come here and get a job, we'll happily welcome you with open arms, and you'll get the chance to see for yourself why Pittsburgh is America's most livable city and why so many wonderful things are happening in our town. So I thank you again for this opportunity. Once again, I apologize for not being able to be there in person. Yesterday's events, of course, prevented me from doing that, but I'm grateful for the opportunity, and once again encourage any and all of you to visit Pittsburgh. And I want to also thank everybody at Brown that made this work. It wasn't the smoothest thing in the world, mainly because of our end, but we appreciate what you did in pulling this off today, and look forward to visiting Providence and Brown hopefully sometime in the future. Thank you very much for your
Mayor, I don't know if you can hear us from here. Are you able to hear us?
Yes.
Oh, so we want to thank you very much for taking the time at this very difficult moment to taking the time to speak with us. No, I never. Mayor, do you want to make any? I guess you can't hear me, but again, I just want to thank you very much for your time. And we look forward. It's like Skype. I think that's the problem. We're talking over each other. Please come and visit us again in the flesh.
I will. Thank you very much.
And we'd like to invite all of you to a reception outside where you have an opportunity to speak with some of the speakers and to some of the students. And I hope you'll join us again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to start again with a panel on transportation.